Ann Karppinen is a university teacher, musician, and writer based in Finland. International authors represent today. She's been teaching writing, both academic and creative, for over 10 years. Her short stories have appeared in Not One of Us and Impossible Worlds. Her book, The Songs of Joni Mitchell, was published by Routledge in 2016. Take it away, Anne.
Thank you. So this is the beginning of The Lamplighter's Daughter. The day is getting darker. The sun has set and the deep velvety sky is illuminated only by the smallest sliver of a moon. Shadows stretch out from beneath the stones, turning the snow into deeper shades of blue. Trees rattle their branches. There's ice in the air, death too for those too slow to find shelter. There's a merciless beauty to this weather, something very few people ever get to see or even know how to look for. I raise the lantern, trying to cast its glow as far ahead of me as possible, but it's useless. There's nothing to see here, nothing to show. I'd know my way back by the feel of the path beneath my feet and by the smell of smoke from the village. I could make this journey with my eyes closed. There are days when I've done so. The lantern isn't here to guide me or to keep me safe. It serves quite another purpose. I follow the path down to the village. Houses, their walls prickled with ice, hunch against the darkness, spouting smoke from their chimneys in unison. I hear pans clanging in the kitchens, plates being scraped, somebody singing a baby to sleep. Water dripping from wet socks over fireplaces. Life going on as life should, mundanely, repetitively, unfurling in slow circles. Now and then there's a silence. People stop and hear my footsteps. I walk louder than necessary just to jolt them out of their routines, just to give them a small taste of uncertainty after dinner. Behind the bolted gate, a guard dog bursts into loud barking. I greet it by its name, and the dog purses its mouth, confused. It pads over to the doorstep and lies down, a coil of soft fur and pointed ears. Behind the door, people let out a sigh and resume their meal. Now, the dog has a good reason to be on its guard, locked as it is in the dark yard by itself. But the people indoors, with their firelight, bright lamps, why are they so easily startled? Surely they recognize my footfall by now. I walk the same route every day, checking all the lanterns on the way and topping up the oil. I'm beginning to agree with my father. Fear can be a delicious thing if sampled in small quantities and tempered with the feeling of immediate safety. I make sure to extinguish the lamp before I reach our gate. Such brightness feels excessive in our small home. For us, darkness is a relief after a day's toil. It requires nothing of us but silence and rest. In his forgetfulness, my father has latched the front door from the inside. I bang on the shutter, not caring if anyone hears. No need to make such a racket. I hear my father's voice through the double doors. As he pushes open the outer one, he adds, "Sometimes I think the gods gave me a son in the shape of a daughter, I really do." He crinkles his hairy face and shuts the door swiftly behind him. "Any luck?" "No," I reply, stomping snow off my boots. "But it's not luck, really, is it? The fish, like the signs, arrive just when we need them the most." He rests his hand briefly on my shoulder as he squeezes past me in the dim corridor. He must be hungry. Father watches me eat. He says he's already had his supper, and I decide to humor him. A grown man knows his own stomach. And even if our fishing lines will stay empty for the rest of the dark season, we won't starve. The villagers will take care of us. They've always kept their side of the bargain. I glance along the dark walls at the rows of shelves and hooks with jars and bundles neatly stacked and regularly turned and dusted. My father keeps a clean house. Indeed, I've heard them joke in the village that the only thing he ever needed a wife was for bearing me. I believe they're right. I don't remember my mother at all. As long as my memory stretches, it's always been my father and myself taking care of each other and of the village. My father says that as long as the law goes, there has always been a lamplighter living in this cottage. The skill has been passed down generations, usually from father to son. The lamplighter's task is a straightforward one, and yet something that cannot be taught to an outsider. When I was born, my father knew immediately that I would take over his post one day. He stopped wishing for a son and started neglecting his wife, so that finally she gave up and died. Or that's what the villagers say. Although my father has been the lamplighter for 40 years or more, he has taught me nothing. Everything I know about light and dark, the caprices of weather and the changing seasons, I've either known all my life or picked up through careful observation. Ever since I could keep up with him, father has taken me on longer and longer trips on the ice. Together, we've watched one winter after another arrive, endure, and finally give up under the growing light of the sun. Now, father is saying that I have all the skill it takes to guide the village from the other side of the winter. What happens if I fail? I asked him once. Will the sun refuse to come back? A vague gesture. It's not about that. The seasons turn regardless of our efforts. It's about the people, what they need and what they think they need. So you're saying it makes no difference what we do? That's not what I'm saying at all. It makes all the difference in the world. A lamplighter is like the baker. Anyone can make their own bread, and yet we prefer this one person in the village to get up early each morning and sweat at the oven for us. Anyone can walk the winter ice. Anyone can raise a lantern to hold back the darkness, and yet most people never will. Thank you.